Rusty Bearings large language model. We're here with Dana Smith talking about large languages.
Very large.
Yeah. What's going on, man? How you been?
Been doing good. Been glad this warmer weather's popped in. Been able to go skate a bit, and so that's always nice if I can get away for just like even if it's just an hour and be out in the sun for a bit. So it was a rough winter.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely had a kind of a stretch. You live like in Soulard, right? Or around that zone?
No, I'm in Soulard, and
Soulard.
so
Okay.
the slab is literally down the street. And I've lived in this area, whether it was Soulard or LaSalle Park or even Benton Park for the last 20 something years, and so I'm very thankful to have that down so close and to be available at my whim.
Yeah,
It's
so you get
great.
an extra hour and a half, 2 hours. You can run down there for a quick skate and get back home easily.
Very easy,
Yeah.
yes.
Fuck yeah.
So I love it.
Nice, dude. This is always a fun one to start with, but dude, where were you born at? Like, are
Uh,
you
well,
you
uh,
from born in Cape? Are you born down that way?
yeah, Cape
Ah,
Girardeau, that has the back when I was born, it was the only hospital in the whole area. And so if someone had to have a baby, they had to go to Cape. And so born in Cape, but then raised in Jackson, which is a tiny town next to Cape. And so when I was growing up, it was like 7,000 people.
no way. Wow. That dude, we had
In
some
Jackson there or Cape? It was Jackson 7,000 people?
Yeah, Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cape around that time was like 35 or so thousand or so. It's
Oh,
much bigger now, but it wasn't huge. But it like to us, that was like the big city, you know.
yeah, for sure. Like we would go down to Cape and or sorry, we go down to Jackson and freaking 92 and stuff like that, but it was it like rural-ish or was it just like a slowly developing community type of thing? Or both, I guess.
Well, it was. I mean, it was very rural. I mean, they had like a town center and they had buildings and stuff, so it wasn't like crazy rural, but it was pretty country.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, we'll get into some of the some of the funny stories that occurred down there, but it seemed like there was definitely some characters that were down in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, it lot of weird folks, but I'm one of the weird folks too, so it just kind of breed it down there.
Nice. When did you get like introduced to skateboarding then? Like when does that start to show up?
Well, let's see. Well, actually, at the time, I lived in California, and
Oh,
so when I was like in fifth grade, my stepfather was in the Navy, and he was stationed in Alameda.
oh
But
wow.
we moved to San Leandro, which I was only in fifth grade, so I totally missed out. But that's where Joe Lopes ramps was, and all that stuff was going on, and it was going on at that time too. But I'm just a dumb kid, and I didn't know anything about that. But the reason why I bring it up is because when I was in San Leandro, that's when I saw what I would say like a real skateboarder, and he was just flying down the street, and he launched off the curb on one of those little, curvy things, and it blew my mind. Like it was the most insane thing I've ever seen. And I was in fifth grade or so, like 10 years old. And so I wouldn't have witnessed that or seen that if I hadn't lived there at that time.
Yeah. Did you have older
And then
siblings or anything like that? Anybody that might have turned you on like the skate stuff or
no,
anything cool?
only child,
Okay.
and just nothing like that. And but seeing that guy, like it burned that in my head. And it was just like I can still see the guy. Had long hair, jean shorts, no shirt. He just flew off that curb. And and so like a year later, I was in my grandmother's basement, and I found an old skateboard that probably belonged to my aunt or maybe even my mother,
Is this San
from the
Leandro or is this in
70s.
Jackson?
No, this is back in Jackson.
Back
It's
in
like a
Jackson.
year later.
Okay.
And so like but that image was still in my head, and I found the skateboard, and I was like, oh, I'll try it out. And I actually, this is not the actual board, but
Oh
this is
no
exactly
way.
what it was,
Oh, nice, dude.
what I found. And the real one that I had, I broke the tail off eventually, but I found this on eBay or something, and I bought it because it's the exact board that I started on. and I'm really glad that I got it because it as soon as I got it, like all these crazy memories
Right. What
came
kind of board
flooded
is it?
in. It's I don't even know. It's a Nash.
It's an
Yep,
Ash. Yeah,
it's a Nash. Yeah.
that's cool.
That thing looks like it's in really good shape, actually. Yeah.
Well, this one is, yeah. This,
Yeah.
and I was surprised. It hasn't. I don't. I mean, there's a few scrapes right here, but it's in pristine uh,
Wow.
uh, consideration. And so that's what I started on, and I just started in the driveway, and I was like so into it. I would pretend like I was surfing, and I would like get into it like I was on a real wave and stuff. And and so at the time I worked at the roller rink, the local roller rink in Jackson.
Oh,
And so
really?
yeah, I started working there like probably when I was in sixth grade or something.
What were
First,
you doing
right
there?
when I started. Just fixing skates, floor guard, DJ, everything. Like
Were you the
Awesome.
guy with the whistle, like going around, like slow down?
yeah, the guy said, yeah, slow down. But I was usually the one causing trouble. And like they would have like games, and you would run the games, like the four corners and
Limbo.
the limbo and all that stuff, hokey pokey. And so there was always like trucks and wheels and bearings. There was always stuff around. And so for like a year, I would just like we would get planks, and they had a sander and a saw thing, and we would cut more boards and like make little boards, but they were still skinny boards.
No way.
And so I did that for like a year, and then finally, about a year after that, I finally got a real board at Cape Bike, which was in Cape Girardeau. It was a bike shop, but they had a little skate section. And I got a Johnny Cop, a Town and Country.
Oh, rad.
That was my first real board.
Yeah. Was
So
uh
Right
that
on.
was Cape Bike basically the only place in town to get a skateboard down that way?
yeah, unless it was unless you went to like Venture or something and got like a whatever those boards were, like a Nash or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but when you started to figure stuff out, and it took a long time back then to even know what was going on. You're like in
Right.
sixth grade or something,
Sure.
and have no idea. And but after you get an idea, then you realize, oh, they have the real stuff. You go here and try to get a board together.
Yeah. During
And
like the middle
so
school years and stuff, was there anybody else in school with you that was skateboarding, or did you come across folks around town?
yeah, there was a couple of us. I started off with a kid that lived by my grandmother, and his name was Quinn Kite, and he had a Santa Cruz Jammer, which I loved, and I envied that so much. And we would cruise around. He kind of stopped, and then another guy started up was Chad Meyer, and he lived close by, and we built a little quarter pipe at his place, and I think that's when Ryan McDowell he started coming around with Chad, and there was Gabe Montgomery
Hmm.
and Bob Burke and Kirby Pulliam and Jason Sides also. But when all that was happening, I moved to Maryland for like a year,
Is this
and so
more
like
That,
Navy stuff?
yeah.
yeah, more Navy stuff. And so
Oh,
like just when there was like a little thing started, like I moved away for like a year, and that was like eighth grade or something. And but the skate scene there was pretty cool too, and it
were
was a
you like
lot
in
of vert
Ocean City?
ramps.
Was it like that?
I went to Ocean City a couple times and skated their park, but it was in Germantown, Maryland, which is probably like 20 miles or so from it,
Uh,
like in between that and DC. And they had like there was a lot of ramps around, there was a lot of ditches around, and there was this one ditch that was basically like a 5 foot half pipe. It was just huge. It was perfect, and that's all we skated. And that's like doing that for like a year, like changed a little bit of like my perception of it. And the guys there were just more like vert skaters and more just a different kind of vibe than you would
yeah.
have in the Midwest.
Probably more folks
Um,
skating in general, therefore it's probably like a higher talent level and that sort of thing.
yes, absolutely. It was more embraced by the community and all that, and so it fostered better skaters.
Nice. So by the
Wasn't
So
Toxic around there? I don't know. Where was Toxic out of? Like, Toxic was on
um,
East Coast.
I'm
was
not
that the
sure.
Carolinas? Like for some
Yeah,
reason
it
I feel like
was.
that was
Okay.
through like Reggie
I thought
Barnes
it
and
was
that sort
more
of thing.
New Englandish something. So
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah, but I mean like kind of skateboarding at skateboarding drafted off of surf culture, and they're surfing there basically because you're on a
Oh yeah.
coastal city. So that's kind of
Yeah,
how it's
yeah.
baked into the community, right?
Yeah, and there was the cool thing is like there you would hear about it, and I guess this happened in Missouri too, but you would just hear about like a crazy half pipe in the middle of the woods, and you'd have to like you get a little map, and you would have to like take this bus to this stop, and then get off and cross this creek, and it may be there or it may not, but it was always there, and it was just cool shit like that. Whereas it was you couldn't find a half pipe in Jackson or whatever, and
Yeah.
so but it was just a year, and then I came back, and then when I got back there they had like a nice like there was like a cool the whole crew kind of thing had started with everyone like Jason Sides and Kirby Pulliam and Ryan McDowell and Chris Sharp was in there, and Mitch Miller, that's when he came around, and and there was like a cool little kind of click, and then we even built a half pipe when I got back in my grandmother's backyard,
Oh wow.
which Ryan and I stole all the wood for from on with him using his truck, and but we built it, and one side was perfect and the other side was garbage, and but we it lasted like a summer, and so we started to, especially knowing like Ryan and Chris and Mitch and those guys who could drive, our horizons expanded a little bit, and we started like going to other places and hitting other. There's all kinds of ditches up and down 55 too, and we used to
Yeah.
go to those and check those out, and then we started to find ramps here and there, and then build our own, and like ninth, 10th grade, we were like a really tight little like group. It was a lot of
Were
fun.
you guys just cruising around Jackson and Cape for the most part? And if so, like, what spots were you guys hitting? Like, people are familiar with the spots around town there.
Well, with Cape, I always loved SEMO, just the whole campus.
Yeah.
And back then, if you skated at night or in the summertime, they really didn't bug you. I don't know what it's like now, but you pretty much had free reign. And Kent Library was awesome. It had these great steps. It had handrails. It had perfect ledges. And then right down the street from that was a really cool bank that was off on Broadway. We took some photos there a lot. And they also have a lot of ditches. Like Cape has some cool like reservoirs and ditches and stuff.
Right there
And
at like the top of Broadway. Like, I know there's like some ditches right there, it seems like.
yes,
Yeah.
and there was one that it was on Williams, and it just kind of you could like cruise down the whole thing and do stuff down it. And so we just started meeting more people, and then we started going up to St. Louis too, and that was always huge. Whenever we got to do that, and that was because of Ryan or Chris or Mitch, driving us all up there and hauling us all around.
For sure. When did the big demo happen at Cape Bike? That was the Cadillac tour, is that right?
Well, there were two. Um, the first one was in 1988, and it was called Street Skate 88, and it was done by there was Coast to Coast. It was a clothing shop, and
Oh,
which they would get like surf gear and stuff, and they would partner with Cape Bike, but they pretty much ran the show, and they would build ramps, and they had like a contest, and then for the first year, Bryce Kanich was there. He
oh,
was the pro, and so that was super cool. And so that would have been like 88, and that would have been the first time we ever saw like a pro or anything like that.
yeah. And there was folks from like I think people from St. Louis came down for that, right? Well, there was a contest.
Well, there was a contest, but then the next year was the bigger one.
Okay.
They did it again, and so that was in '89, and that was when Nadas and the Cadillac tour came, and that's yeah when a bunch of guys came down from St. Louis too, and
Got
so
it.
those are the 2 years that they did it, and those were probably the first times. Those 2 years were the first times we saw like pros close up
Yeah, and
and in
fucking
person.
1989. Jesus, what a group of dudes to see in real life. I
And,
think Jason Sides when he was on, he kept going on about Alan Peterson. They had this new guy named Alan Peterson that was incredible.
and yeah, it was amazing. And Julian Stranger wasn't skating, but he was skating in the back. And me and Kirby went over and skated with him, and he was so fucking cool. And he was just like boom, boom, like power. And but he was just nonchalant, just in the back. And and Nadas was there, and uh,
Debo?
Jim Tebow,
Yep.
and there was some others. But I tell you, just recently watching Jeremy's, we recorded that whole thing. Like it's on tape somewhere.
Wow.
Jason probably has it. The whole thing is recorded, and when we would watch it over and over and over again, and the guy who like we flipped out over was Jeremy Jones.
Jeremy Jones?
He's
Oh,
all
red.
he came down and he was all over that and he was doing those melancholies like you were talking about where method him out. He was doing everything and landing everything, and we're just like, "What? Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
That's who we were flipping out about when we would
Yeah,
watch that over and over. And even still
that's
today, when
cool.
I see like sometimes he'll ride by on his bike at the slab, and I'm still a little starstruck when I see him.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Did you ultimately wind up moving anywhere after that 1990? Did you go anywhere with your stepfather?
Oh, no, that when I got back, it would have been like 87 or
Okay.
88 when I got back. And so yeah, so I think I got back in whatever, and then that summer was that first one. And so I was here for all that.
Yeah.
And no, and I stayed put and I didn't want to leave. Like we were having fun skating, a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
that's all we did.
That's
That
cool.
is all we did. That's it.
Yeah.
There was nothing else.
Yeah. You guys, how often would you guys come up to St. Louis? Like, is it once a month? Was it like that or
Well,
more than that?
it started off like that, but it became once a week, and then if we could stay
Okay.
extended, or maybe we would come and go back, and it's just
Yeah.
we wanted to be up there all the time. It was uh,
I can remember
to
seeing you
us
guys there a lot, and I'm thinking like, did you guys go home? Or did you guys, you were just there a lot.
to me it was the dream, like all the banks and Oak Hill School, like that was I love that. And
Yeah.
captain and all of them like that's where I wanted to be, and that's where we all wanted to be. I think it was either
Who would you mainly
Ryan.
stay with? Yeah, who would you stay with when you'd come up there?
Well, it just depends. My aunt, from who was my stepfather's sister, she lived just off of Chippewa, across from where Baba is from,
Oh wow.
and so
Oh,
I
no
would stay
way.
with her a lot, and she was right
That's
on, like
awesome.
right there. It was perfect, and
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
and when I would stay with her, and this is a few years later, Baba and Dee Belmar would take me all over South Grand and all over at late at night, and we would skate. And that's when like I fell in love with the city and was like, I, I'm gonna live here. So, like I was like, I remember just thinking I'm gonna live here someday.
Yeah.
But it was those guys taking me around all that area, and we were just skating everywhere,
Yeah.
all over.
What was the bank that everyone skated at the corner of Chippewa and Grand? What was that called?
Oh, the bank?
The Money Bank. Yeah, it had a giant wall.
Yeah, Southside National
There
or
you go.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I pictured that's what I picture like cruising around late at night, like in that parking lot type of thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we would get that exactly. But
Yeah.
I think it was Ryan or Jason or maybe both of them. I think they came up here at some point and they found TNT skates, and they met Tiger, and Jeremy was there. And then they came back and they were just like, "You got to check out this store. It's the best shop." And they were just like, and I was like, "Okay, let's go." And so when we got back, and Tiger was amazing. He was like uh just so helpful and encouraging, and like he was stoked and he wanted to see videos. And so we would make little videos for him and bring him up and to watch him and stuff. And then like he started calling us the Jackson Connection, and like made little team shirts and stuff. And he didn't
Really?
have to do any of that stuff. Yeah, he like in sweatshirts.
that's
And
really cool.
but it was just like cool, and it was like it was no big deal, but it did kind of make us feel like a team, and it was just like a cool thing to do and encouraging. And
Yeah,
it's exactly who he was as a person, just like whether it was like any other like activity or something, he was just like guiding or coaching or whatever. And so we started to do that, and that would be our go-to shop. That's where we went. It was
Just
always
drive straight
TNT.
up, go by TNT, and then take it from there type of thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then figure out where we're gonna go.
Yeah, for sure. Jeremy Jones talked about basically riding by on the bus and discovering TNT. Did
Yeah,
you guys
I
link
heard
up with
that.
him through there? Did you get to know him
Well,
through there?
well, yeah, that's where we met him, and then I do remember it's like the guy in that video, he works at CNC like that, and we were like blown away by that. But that's yeah, that's exactly where we met him. And I think those guys had some of those cutout boards that where they would make their
Oh,
own
the
shape.
ugly, ugly whatever
Yes,
or blanks.
they
Yeah,
made they did some
Yeah.
of those too. Um, but and we ended up making like a bunch of videos, and I'm sure Jason has them all.
yep.
And we would edit them, and we took it very seriously, and like make parts, and then do editing, and then but we would make them for Tiger's amusement,
Oh,
and then
basically
show
show them that
Tiger.
you guys are skating throughout the week, and here's what we're up to, or
Yeah,
so on. No way.
exactly. Yeah, and like and he was giving us like a shop discount, which was totally cool, and like we're trying to earn it or showing that we're out
Yeah,
there doing our stuff.
for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
When did you guys start going beyond St. Louis? Because I know you guys I think you guys would do Texas trips and beyond that too, right? Is that around that time or is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
later?
Yeah, I guess it is. Or it'd be well, so yeah, so as we started to get older, and like Ryan graduates, Chris graduates, Mitch had already graduated, and not that they're not hanging around or anything, but it just seems like as we got older, like they just stopped. They didn't skate as much. They would
Sure.
still be into it and do whatever, but Jason and I were like still like hardcore, like this is all we're doing. This is it. And I don't know how it came up. Maybe it was because okay, so we started to hit like local contests like in Peoria and Rockford and other little towns. And I think what happened was we did decent in those, and like it qualified you for something.
Oh, this is all part of
And
the NSA and all the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
regionals and all
yeah.
that stuff. Oh, wow.
Right. And so like we qualified to compete in a regional or something. And so once we figured that out, we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I think we didn't get to there was one in Springfield, but we didn't get to that
Yeah.
one. But then there was another one in Houston. And so we're like, well, and of course, the saint that she is, Jason's mother, was like, yes, I will take you guys. And like she 100% was in full support uh, for everything, and mentally as well, just encouraging and being there for not just Jason, for all of us. She was there for all of us.
Yeah, dude, she
Um,
was Jane Sides.
amazing,
Dude, she would
yes,
load the
amazing
van
woman.
up, full trips, taking care of room and board and the whole thing. It's kind of crazy as we
Yes,
all have kids. Like,
yes,
I'm going to take five
yes.
kids on a trip and just foot the bill, you know? Like, whoa.
Um, and so she was like, "I'll take you guys." And so it was like, "Okay." And so we went down, and I don't even remember what place or whatever we got, but it was like the first time we're competing or like trying to figure out that aspect of it, which was, I mean, sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And I guess it's just like anything, you have good days and bad days. Um, but we did that 2 or 3 times. That they all kind of blur together because as we kept going, we were starting to go to a regional, and then we got to a final, and I guess that's the big one. But there was a couple more in between there too. And it would be 13 hours, boom,
Yeah.
you know, that's a long drive.
Yep.
Um, but that was amazing too. That was, probably the most surreal thing that happened was so we were staying at a DoubleTree hotel, and we were done skating for the day,
Where are you
and
guys
we're
at?
sitting in Houston. This is
Houston.
in
Okay.
Houston, and we're sitting in the hot tub, and Tony Hawk comes out and just sits down in the hot tub, and we're just like, what? And and he's just, hey, you guys skate today? Just he was totally nicest dude, like coolest guy ever, and I'm sure he could tell we were just like, you know, thunderstruck. And but he's totally cool, and it was just like so awesome, but very surreal, like
Yeah.
that
Bert
happened.
Tony's soaking his bones. He's got to relax too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
little Birdman suit.
Yeah, for sure.
You're part of it.
Um,
and so
so at some point you start getting product from, well, actually, let me ask you this. Did you get boards from Take Skateboards in Missouri?
no,
Okay.
I mean, I got him through Ryan, but
Sure.
uh,
Oh,
so
McDowell
Take was
flow.
mainly right. That's what it was. And and so I think Ryan and Jason knew those guys, and so I did go down there a couple times to their office, which was in Bloomdale or Bloomington or something. And they had this little office, and it like there was boards everywhere, and they had all these boxes and everything. And then we went out to the guy's house, and he had this crazy spine behind his ramp or behind his house. But it was like 5 feet tall, but it was vert,
Oh
and it
wow.
was just like really bizarre. But he didn't skate, and so it was just confusing. And so that was the only like connection I had. But then like Ryan always had extra boards or whatever, and so I like get a couple from him.
Yeah. But at some point you start getting some boards or product from some brands, yes?
Yeah, well, it so the first time was and so during this time, like when we're going to Houston and all this stuff, we're filming a ton of
Yeah,
stuff.
you
We're
guys
just
filmed a lot,
always
dude.
filming, and that's all we're doing. And Jason literally had a skate park in his driveway. He got all the stuff from the Street Skate '89
Oh,
contest
really? That's where that stuff came
from
from?
the Cadillac tour.
Huh. No
He
way.
got it all, and so they brought it over to his house, and that's what we were skating on. And
Huh.
so we were constantly filming, and so during that time we're also sending videos, to whoever. And um and so the first one was one day out of the blue, I'm sitting at my grandma's house, and the phone rings, and it's Mike Vallely.
Mm.
And I'd sent TV one of the videos because he had just started TV, and he was just like, "Hey, yeah, I like your video. It's cool." And he was, and like you, and in the video you could see like Jason or Ryan or somebody was in the video, but you could just see that was, it wasn't just, you could see there's stuff going on. And he was just, "Guys, looks like you guys have a cool scene and stuff." And he was like, "Yeah, I'd like to send you some stuff, you know." And I was like, "Well, that's awesome." Like
Yeah.
that was totally cool. And so like he ended up sending like a few boards and shirts, and I think I got a pair of those Zero shoes that were supposed to be
Zero
all
two.
vegetarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wore those things out. Like I wore them till there was nothing left. And so that was the first time. And when something like that happens, you just get like
You get a
super
spark.
pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he would check in occasionally and just like say hi and stuff, and it was just like, you know, super cool. And but then, and it's, like I forget what year that was, but it was whenever they first started that one.
You know,
But we would send out.
we went up to a TV demo in Davenport, Iowa around 1991. Mike V, Ed Templeton, Jamal Williams, and Jerry Fowler, I think. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and I know TV kind of like had some ups and downs. Or Ed Templeton split or Mike V split or something like that. It was pretty short lived. Um,
Well, somehow
or 92.
it morphed
Yeah,
into
it's like
like it was television for a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
but I guess, and then maybe that morphed again or something. But I don't know. It was just like I'd always loved his skateboarding,
yeah.
um, and so that was just like cool to be recognized, and get the product. But we were sending out like videos to all kinds of different companies, and and you would get like a contact here, or someone might call you back or something, or you call and you talk to them or whatever. And um and somehow I had, I don't know how it was, but I had gotten a correspondence with Ty Evans,
Oh,
who at the time was doing, I think, stuff with Powell or something.
he rode for Powell. Probably at the time.
Yeah, at the time. And so we had like this loose thing of, "Hey, meet me at the PAL zone on this day." And I was driving someone's car out. This guy who lived in LA wanted his car, which was in Jackson, and so they were going to pay me to drive it out.
Oh, no
And
way.
so I drove it out, and and then they took me and dropped me off at the PAL zone. And so I got in there, and but it was like a disaster. It was a total disaster,
How
and
so?
like I couldn't do anything. I was like
Were you just
tired.
nervous or just
I
jet
was
lagged the whole
nervous,
thing?
just
Yeah.
everything. And I had like $100, and I was like, where am I gonna stay? Like I was just, I had a little more than $100, but I didn't have a lot of money, and I was just, and I couldn't do anything, and I don't know. And so I was like, I got to get out of here. So I just left, and there's an airport right across the street from wherever that was at the
It was in
time, the
Santa
south end.
Barbara, right? Like,
Yeah, in Santa Barbara. And I
or
just
Bench.
walked over
Yeah,
there
Santa Barbara. Yeah.
and I just got a ticket and flew back to St. Louis.
Just
And I
split.
even yeah, I just split. I just left my board there too. And because that was all the money I had, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I don't know. I just didn't know what I was gonna do. So the reason why I'm saying all this is so I get back and then I get back home and I'm just like, what am I gonna do? I don't know. And then like the
Sounds
phone
like you're
rings.
not getting on Powell.
No, not and then a few weeks go by or whatever, and then the phone rings and it's Roger Sellinger from Consolidated. And those were that was one of the companies that I'd sent the video to
Oh,
because
okay.
they were like one of my favorite companies. And he's like, yeah, we liked your video, and just he was just super cool, and like, we'll send you some stuff. You think you can come out here?
Huh?
And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so they started sending me stuff, which was totally cool. It'd be like 2 boards a month, 2 sets of wheels, and like shirts and stuff. And then I was I knew a buddy of mine who's moving out there, and so I was like, "Hey, when you move, can I ride with you? Can you
Yeah.
drop me off in Santa Cruz?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And so that was my buddy Marty, and he still lives in LA. And so he dropped me off, and then like I met Roger and like stayed with him, and then he took me to Consolidated and met everyone there.
Yeah.
Keenan, Berto, Jason Jesse was there, and Moish, the
Yeah.
artist,
Yeah.
and so they let me like crash there for a while, uh, and then Car or no, and then Roger. One of the best days with that was so one morning I'm staying with Roger, and I wake up and he's in the kitchen and he has this big long paper that he's drawing on. He's like, I got this idea for a graphic, and I'm like, okay. And so he draws it all out, and he's like, all right, let's go. And so we are like, all right. So I have no idea what this day is gonna unfold.
Right.
And so we go down and he takes it to Consolidate. He's like, here, this graphic, and they gave him some money. And so now he wants to go to he wants to meet up with he wants to go stay with Karma in Concord. And so we get the money. And what he had drawn was the funny car graphic that became the Frankie Hill graphic for Consolidated. That's what he did.
No way. I
And he
don't.
did it.
When Frankie had a board on Consolidated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a couple boards.
Yeah.
And that's what it became. And he was like, I just had this idea, and he just drew it all out in front of me right then. And
No way.
that's it was
What
crazy.
what did Roger Selliner do for Consolidate? Was he just art guy or was he because he was there
Uh,
for like as a writer kind of like early on, right?
yeah, well, he was a writer, and he was the team manager,
Okay.
and then he also did art, and he did like stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yep.
And so we get a ride to the bus. We get a bus. We get a ticket to we get a ticket to uh, I forget where we go, but we take like three forms of transportation. We take like a bus, and then we take the BART, and then we take this other thing, and then we meet Karma, and he picks us up in his car, and he's like, "You guys want to go to San Francisco?" We're like, "Yeah," and so we're driving in Karma's car. I'm in the back seat, and Roger's in the front, and we're going across the bridge into San Francisco, and that fucking Journey song is on. The lights, the city, and they're singing it at the top of their lungs, just and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is crazy. And so we get into the city, we go everywhere, Fort Miley, we go to the pier, we go to all the spots,
Oh, sick.
everything. Just it's amazing. And then we go back to Karma's house in Concord, and so that was like the best day ever with that
Yeah,
one.
for
Yeah,
sure.
sounds rad.
Did you wind up sticking around Santa Cruz for a while, or was that just kind of a few week type of trip, or what was going on there?
Yeah, that was just it was probably 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I
and,
was
and so
curious,
I
did you have a plan or was this you
no they
not
there
caring
was
and just going for it? And
there
yeah.
was no plan. He was just like, hey, if you can come out, that'd be cool. And I was like, all right. And I don't know if he thought I had a car, or if I don't know,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
was like, I'll get out there, but you got to take care of me.
Yeah.
Um, but there was another cool trip too that during that trip where with Israel Forbes, who was a Santa Cruz guy, and then other Santa Cruz locals, we all loaded into a VW van bus and drove down 101 and stayed in LA for a weekend.
Oh, dang.
And we hit all the schools and all the spots, and even then though, and I don't know if it's different, but like I didn't realize like on the in the weekends you had to break into the schools. You had to climb over the fences and get
Yeah.
in. And um and we got stopped by the cops. They caught us and they lined us up and was like, where are you from? What are what are you doing? And when he got to me, I was like, yeah, I'm not from around here. He's like, where are you from? I was like, Cape Girardeau. And he's like, oh, that's where Rush Limbaugh's from.
You're assuming that there's some morally superior aspect to healthcare. I'm telling you earlier, I'm not a conformist. I hated school because it's what everybody else had to do.
It's just like, what the hell? They let us off with a warning. But in
You're
that
part of the
trip,
community, Dana.
yeah, and in that trip, the whoever we were supposed to stay with, it fell through, and so we had to like sneak into a hotel. We had to like try, pay for one person, but there's 8 of us, and uh, figure out how to eat, and it was just like crazy. But we skated all the spots and then head back, and so that was a fun trip too, on the same little kind of excursion.
Yeah. When you were going out to Santa Cruz, were they, for lack of a better word, trying you out or just kind of feeling you out? Like, all right, what's this dude all about? Or was it just
Yeah,
like, or were you in? How about that?
well, no, I never felt like I was I always felt like I had to prove myself, and so uh that was but Roger was cool, and I was comfortable with Roger, and that's who you had to
Yeah.
that's how you had to convince.
Yeah. Dude, early
And he
consolidated, even into like mid years consolidated was so sick. Like they had such a
Oh
good thing
yeah.
going. Um,
Well,
yeah.
and that was the dream. That was the
Yeah.
dream. I mean, I it was just like long shot, like uh, you know, but it was a true honor to have been part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So your 4 weeks are up. Do you keep skating for Consolidated once you move back? I'm assuming you're gonna move back to Jackson, or
Well,
what
yeah,
would you
I
do?
come back, and so that's when I got back, and then and then it was weird. It was just like a domino. Like then like Tracker like started sending stuff, and Simple Shoes started sending stuff, and A1 Meats Wheels started sending stuff, and so it it was like nothing and then everything, which was really cool too. And so like for that summer, that spring and that summer, Jason and I were in St. Louis a ton. Just we were just filming and just skating
That
constantly.
was like around 93, 94-ish. Is yeah? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I remember you
that
guys
whole
being
time.
around quite a bit. And you
Yeah,
were
you.
you were
Sorry, go ahead.
always taking photos with John Harms too, right? You and him were thick as thieves. There we are.
Um, Good night.
Canada.
Um, well, and that was the thing. He was getting photos in magazines, and he'd get paid well for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, these some of these companies are asking for photos, and he's like, all right, let's do it. And so yeah, he would drive down and take photos, or I'd come up here and he'd take photos, and there's a lot when I think about it, and even what he has of me, which is a decent amount, he's got mountains,
Yeah, man. Yep.
mountains. What I wish, please, John, do a show, please. I beg you. We and Dave Early and I are always on him about it, and so he needs to show that stuff.
Yeah, there's from that time period, from before that time period, shortly after that time period, there's yeah, awesome stuff. The glimpses that I've seen have been nothing short of impressive, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
so
speaking of which, what is that your first photo in a magazine is via Harms,
um,
or
yes, it was. It was
how does
because
that work? Yeah.
he he had submitted that one, and that was the Keener Plaza one.
That's your first photo in a magazine?
Yeah,
Yep.
and he had
That's
submitted
a
it, and
banger.
it was part of the, like submissions or something.
Yeah, he
Yeah, but
talked
yeah,
about
that
that
was
when we rapped with him. He would send out packets to Grant Britain or something and basically
yeah.
get feedback and all right, we're gonna run with this or this, you know?
And it was, yeah, it was, that was another boost, like whoa. And so that, kind of gets you a little bolder and confident.
Nice.
And so yeah, and so the other, like, there would be ads or whatever, they'd like, hey, if you can get a photo, we and so I mean he got I mean there's like three or four, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. And then through all this too, you guys are still filming a ton, right? Just like that's just the MO every day, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
because
when you brought up Tracker, you get a whole part in that Tracker video, right?
yeah,
Get,
that was and then Jason was on Gullwing, and he had it's called Revival. And
hmm.
so yeah, we're both filming for stuff like that.
Oh,
And
that's right. That's right at the same time. Yeah.
mhm.
Like 94, maybe. Maybe
um
93. I don't know when you're filming it,
yeah,
but
it's like 93, 94.
yeah.
um
High
and
eight,
so
I think is the Tracker one.
yeah, and I found this I think it's here. I found this postcard.
Who's that on the
It has
postcard?
Mike
Is that
McGill.
McGill? Oh
That's
no
Mike
way.
McGill. Yeah.
Oh
It's a
wow.
Powell postcard.
No
And it
way.
says
That's cool.
and it says it says Tracker Truck Guy. Everyone is wondering when the promo video will be out, and the answer to that lies as to when Tony Hawk gets back from a demo. We are looking at editing on April 10th now, and it will be only a few days after that. Copies will be in your hands. Hang in there as we are still hard at work on it. Do not call to ask about it. Love you, Ridge.
Oh,
And
Brian
so
Ridgway.
yeah, and it was just, he's talking about that video because we're sending in footage and stuff, and we're all can't wait to see it and everything.
Yeah. What,
And
did you
so
actually film specific for that, or was it just like, hey, I got footage, here it is?
well, no, some of it yes, some of it no. Some of the tricks in there, yeah, it was specifically for that, and then others I just had, and so included it.
Hmm.
Man.
And so yeah, that
Skating with
was
the boss, skating with Andrew Reynolds.
yeah, it's insane.
Shared
And I
something.
suggested to and I they asked what song you want, and I said the everyone he's got something to hide but me and my monkey, the Beatles.
Is that
And
what
that's what
song's
they
in that
used.
part? Oh, rad.
That's but you can only watch that on the video. If you anywhere else it gets cut out.
Yeah, the Beatles are pretty hardcore on that copyright, or Michael Jackson, whoever owns it, right?
But I love the fact that he used the song for both parts, and then if you have the hard copy, you can and it works perfect for the two. It really works well.
Hmm. Nice. So at that point, you're kind of back around, you're staying in Jackson, but coming around St. Louis and traveling and kind of getting some gear from people and things sound like they're going pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going good, but there's life starts to creep in, and uh, you got other pressures about what are you going to do with life and all that stuff, and so it just gets a little tricky sometimes. And even then, like by the time you're 20, then
Yeah.
you're that's it. You're done.
Yeah, even in
You're old.
93, 94, that was kind of
Yeah.
like pushing it for sure.
Yeah. When
If
you're
you hadn't
watch,
already established yourself in the world of skating and gotten your sponsors dialed in and whatever,
yeah. But
pretty much had
even
to be pro already.
that time
So
too, like I'm thinking of like the Plan B videos where they're retiring Matt Hensley. They're about to
yeah,
retire Sal
yeah, that's
Barbier.
what I
It's
mean.
like,
Yeah,
dude,
Right.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was just
yeah.
kind of the mindset. Like, you have to get on with life or
Yeah.
whatever. And and so,
Was there
there was always
parental
that around.
pressure to figure it out, stuff like that, or were
Not
they
necessarily
supportive
parental.
of? Because you've got things working out for you. I mean, you're in magazines and like in
Yeah, but
skate videos and like I don't know if that translates to parents though.
Well, not necessarily
But
parents, but you know, just the people who you're around or have to be around daily. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think a lot of them, and even I didn't understand it at the time completely, but I think it's just a difficult like like they don't like skateboarding. What do you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's just an odd thing, especially in that part of the country. And so it was difficult to uh just okay, whatever, just go do it, or
Yeah.
like,
Did you have
but
any
it's
ambitions to relocate? Like, okay, might not be a welcome so much in this part of the country, but other parts it is.
yeah, I went
No.
out to California a lot of times, and the thing that always I couldn't get over in California was everyone I knew had like five roommates,
Yeah.
like because
Yeah.
that's the only way they could afford it. And it's just like, God, that's where you move here, you can live like a king, you know.
Yeah. That
Uh,
specifically you're talking about Santa Cruz, and I know right now, like, dude, the cost of housing in Santa Cruz is one of the highest in the United States. It's insane.
yeah, and not even to mention San Francisco,
Yeah, sure.
and even in LA, I knew people, and they had to have roommates, and they had to, it was tough, and so that's a lot to,
You
and
don't want
at
to live
one
with
time,
people. That's not your ideal situation.
well, not five people,
Well,
it's hard, you know.
for sure.
So that's what made it tough for me because I did try to come out here again, and it's just I never liked it. I always wanted I always wanted to be in St. Louis. I don't know, and I think it goes back to skating with Baba and Dee. I That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be around bricks, and I wanted to be around concrete and broken lights, and just
Nah.
I don't know, like just like I love it all,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
so that's why I eventually ended up back here. But I did go to New Zealand in '96,
What?
and
Oh
uh
wow.
For
and I spent
what?
and just to get away.
Really? What, like, just
Yeah.
any game plan or just like, hey, I want to be in New Zealand for a while?
The only criteria was some place that wasn't the United States, and that they spoke English.
Okay.
And also the rate of money was important. And there you could get $1 for 67 cents,
Yeah.
which was awesome. And you could stay for 4 months with no visa. That's the longest you could stay. And so I had already stopped skating, but just wanted to go there. And so but where I lived, right down the street was a half pipe out in a park, and it was like a 5 foot perfect mini ramp, 30 feet wide. It was so beautiful,
Huh.
and I was like, well, I gotta skate this thing. And so I got a board, and I started skating that daily. And so that was like a last kind of like in my youth, in my prime, uh, and it
Yeah.
was a nice
Was it fun?
nice
Like,
little
was it
send
fun
off.
doing it
Oh,
down there?
it was so much fun. And then like people started coming around. I started meeting some of the guys, and and way back then, that was probably the first time I had under the influence skated. Uh, and so, I show up to skate with these guys. And they're like, "Come on, we're gonna go up the hill." And I'm like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, I've never done this or whatever." And so I was like, "Okay, well, I gotta go." They're like, "No, you're not leaving. You skate now." I'm like, "Oh, what?" And but everything came back, like the muscle memory. All, and I was like,
Oh, it
"Whoa."
worked out for you.
It
Yeah.
worked. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, now I get it. Now, yeah, let's go." Come, you know. Um, so that was a new experience, and that was in New Zealand.
So after you left New
Oh,
Zealand, where did you wind up going?
When I got back, I moved to Northern California again. I lived in Walnut Creek, which is just outside of San Francisco. My buddy Marty, who took me to Santa Cruz, he got a job working on the film Sphere, which was Dustin Hoffman and somebody else. And that was like in the town next to wherever he lived. And so he rented this house. And on the back of the house was this extra little cabin. It had a bathroom and a bedroom, and it was like perfect. He's like, yeah, if you can come out here, you can live here if you want.
Yeah.
And so I moved out there again, and I didn't skate. That's when I started painting. Um, when I
How
stopped
old are you at
skating,
this
like
point? How old are
Yeah.
you at this point? Yeah. You're like
96, it'd be
mid
like
20s?
22,
Yeah.
22,
Yeah.
you know, so still pretty young. And I got a job at a toy store, just worked at a toy store, and then I had started painting when I quit skating. That kind of took the place of skating, and um, and I just spent my time painting. That's all I did while I was there.
No way.
And then he eventually, that gig was up, and he had just rented it for the year or whatever. And so when that was done, then I was like, all right, this is like 97, late 97. I was like, this is it. I'm doing it. I'm moving to St. Louis.
Oh,
And that's when I moved here.
well, that's
So it's
cool.
been,
Dug the closet in.
and dug the claws in. Yes. And
Yeah.
it was always a dream. It was always, I don't know why, I don't understand it, but I was like, I want to live in St. Louis. I want to, if I have a family, I want to raise them in St. Louis. I want to work in St. Louis. I just wanted to be a part of the city.
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, St. Louis has got tons of good stuff going on. Just a lot of creativity around. It's got the East Coast, old East Coast city vibes, like just what you're describing. So I understand the allure for sure. Easier to financially get by and afford a house and
Oh,
live and all
yeah,
that stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then is this when you team up with Dave? Was it Dave early and you had a store? Am I crazy?
Well, he ran a club called Radio Cherokee.
Oh, no way. That
And
was Dave?
yeah, yeah, that
Huh.
was Dave Early and
Yeah.
Galen. And so I helped him out. Like I would just like work the bar, just help a band load
Okay.
in or whatever. And just to be as someone else there, just to kind of organize like crowds or whatever. Or if they couldn't make it, they couldn't make a night or something, I could fill in for them. And so yeah,
Nice.
and a lot of great bands played there. Like they booked a lot of cool stuff. Um, and so it's always great to hang out with Dave, and because Dave Early, amazing skateboarder.
Yep.
Like that footage of him on those vert ramps,
Yeah. I just watched some a
that
few weeks back. It's incredible.
blows my mind. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And I never got to skate with Dave back then, but a lot of those guys, the first time I ever saw them skate was in Farmington, at Gino's, and the uh, the roller rink that I worked at, the guy who owned it knew Gino, and so when Gino was building this,
Wait, hold on, hold on. Is there
it's a
like
roller rink,
un an
right?
underground network of roller rink owners?
Yeah, the roller rink mafia,
Nice.
and and uh, and so I found out that they were building these ramps, and so I was like, oh, I want to go there and check it out, and so I got in, and that's where I met Eric Decker, who's amazing skateboarder, amazing person, everything top notch, and he was building the ramps, and so like I got to hang out and like help out or whatever. I was probably, I don't know, 14 or something, and but that 6 foot was perfect. The 4 foot was perfect, and I love the 6 foot. But when those guys from that video, that's the first time I ever saw Glenn and John Harms, uh, Glenn Stallings, and uh, and I'm sure Chris Casey also. They would skate that 6 foot like it was a toy. It was just like a toy
Yeah.
to them because they had been skating these vert ramps that were like in the video that Dave Early was skating.
Yep.
And and but I wish there was more video of Dave skating.
Yeah,
He's great.
for sure.
Yeah. I was watching that same stuff the other day too.
Yeah.
So did you have stuff going on at your roller rink to skate? Like who started
The,
building stuff first?
yeah,
Was it
so me and the owner's son, who's Brian Wilson,
Wait,
same as the Beach Boy.
Brian Wilson, is that the son or was he actually the owner?
Well, he's the owner. He became the owner, but
Okay.
around the time we started to do this stuff, he wasn't owning it, but he was basically running it.
Okay.
His father was still around, and his father's still around. and and so he was also roller skating. And so the first thing was we built like a corner ramp that went around the corner, and it was very tight and it was very sharp, but it was still fun, and it had a little extension that went to vert. and he would also roller skate on it. So we kind of built that as a permanent thing that you couldn't move. And we had so much fun on it. I talked to him and I was like, let me build some more stuff. And so we built like this little pyramid. We built ledges and we built like ramps and little pyramids and flat boxes and all kinds of stuff. And we had all this shit, all these ramps. And I was like, well, you know what? He's like, you can have Sunday nights. Like Sunday nights, you can set up all the ramps and you can have people can charge $3 or something, and that'll be fine. And so that's what we started to do. And then we also made a little skate shop, which we only sold Consolidated and Alien Workshop.
The
That's the
Jason
only
Dana
thing you could
skate
get
shop.
there. That's right. And Tracker Trucks and Gull Wings. And so we had like a little shop there. And so on Sunday nights we'd set up all the ramps, and for like a year it was packed. Like there was people there all the time. And I
Yeah.
was surprised. Like people from all over would come.
Yeah. Matt, did you ever
And
get down to any of those? Did you ever go down there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did, but I think it was the tail end. I
Yeah.
remember going down there with Captain a couple times with Jeff. And you
Yeah.
were definitely there, Dana. Probably with Canali too, like kind of that
Yeah.
era.
I remember
But I
posseing up
remember
with like,
talking to you about it, Dana, that it was winding down, like it might have been some of the last sessions even.
yeah.
Yeah. I
yeah.
wasn't there in the like heyday of it.
No, I've seen video clips. That place was it was packed. Like I mean, it was pretty
Yeah.
busy on a Sunday
You
night.
never went down there,
I
Todd?
did. Yeah, I went down there and
Oh
I
yeah.
was
I figured you would have because
and
you were
Yeah,
down
I
there all the
remember
time.
seeing Todd down there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and uh, towards the back half, actually some friends played like a show there and I think there was
Yeah,
stuff to
yeah.
skate at the time.
That's right.
I remember
Yes.
doing
So
that.
yeah, yeah. So bands would play, and so like while they played, we would skate. Like
Yeah.
this, we would skate and stuff, and it was fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then eventually we also built a little mini ramp out back that was a 4 foot
Yeah.
mini ramp.
That was
I think it was
tight as
just
hell and really
yeah, it
hard
was
to skate.
it was 12.
That's what I remember
I think
about
it was
it.
just 12 feet wide.
Dude, that thing was so
And
fun. It had metal on it, yeah?
well, that so we built the ramp out of wood, and then my great friend Mike Cook, who I ended up being in a band with later, he paid to get 9 sheets of that metal to keep it cool, and it was yes, it was totally perfect. And so that like it was cool for like a year, and then it just kind of fizzled, and then went nowhere,
Yeah.
and people stopped coming, and but we had to like we had all these ramps and stuff, and that's when it kind of just
Yeah. Brian Wilson had a
but it
bonfire and it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember there being metal on the ramp. I remember it being wood because it might have been like falling apart and all that. Yeah.
well maybe
But
by then.
speaking of your photos, did you have a photo on that, I think,
Yeah,
on
Oh
the
yeah.
yeah,
ramp?
John took a lot of cool photos on the half pipe, and one of them was used for a clothing company, which was cool. It turned out really
Yeah.
good. I think I pulled out some magazines.
What
I
do you
think I
got?
might have it. Let's see. I think I have that one. Maybe.
So what I can't remember, is that an ollie fakie or a heel flip or something? Or
It's a frontside
I think
ollie, right?
it was
oh,
just
it's a
an
front
ollie.
side
Yeah,
ollie?
Yeah, but it was cool the way it
yeah,
was shot. It was like shot like from the front of the board, right? Kind of.
yeah. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Q ambient.
Ambient wear.
Q Ambient. They
Okay.
made those big O jeans
Big
that
raver
were
jeans.
big raver jeans. I had a couple pair of those and some t-shirts and stuff. But they like but but I think that, and John got a credit and I think he got something, but I mean, that would happen every couple of months, and he'd keep his name out there, and he'd get a little something for it too. And so it was cool when it worked out. My favorite one
Oh boy.
though is
Todd's digging up something.
let's see.
I thought I had a Q ambient wear sticker on something. I'm not joking. Actually, I think I do.
No way. Oh boy.
You probably got it from me.
Yeah, so what was Q ambient? Like what,
Look at
I'm sure
that.
they were California or something.
Look at that.
What the fuck is that? Oh
Q
wow.
ambient wear.
Oh my God. I've never seen those. Nice.
Dude, the
So was
sticker says 100% chronic.
Well, no, I
Oh
think
my
so.
God.
I think one of the times when I was in LA, I was skating in like a parking garage or something, and just by myself, and like I'm that's how I met these. Like they were in a car or something. These guys, and they were like, "Hey man, where are you? Who are you or whatever?" And they're like, "Yeah, call this number, get," and that's how I found them, or that's how they found me or something. It's just crazy.
I think they came by altered like a sales rep like years ago. I was literally sitting there and he was like, "You want some stickers that say 100% chronic?" I guess I was like, "Yes, I do." So there you go.
Okay, so this one was my favorite,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the thing I
Is it
like
an
about
A1
that is
A1
A1, yeah.
meats?
And the thing I like about that is that it was in Cape Girardeau, and so it's like a spot in Cape Girardeau. And then the funny thing is, if you look close, you can see the wheels are dark, which at the
Yep.
time was A1 Meat had dark wheels, but I was actually riding Daredevils, and they colored them in to make them dark, which I
Like
always thought was funny.
old Photoshop.
Yeah, like
Eh,
like the real like color made it dark.
nice. Dude, that's incredible.
Burn the wheels in the photo
Yeah,
process.
for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, so I wanted to ask, as when you moved back to St. Louis, you started playing some music straight away or shortly there after you relocated?
Well, yeah. So yeah, I moved here and I don't know what made me. I don't know. I just started playing guitar, and so my friend Mike Cook, who used to skate, and he had the video camera and everything. I talked him into moving up here. He lived in Jackson, and I was like, "Come on, Mike, come live in St. Louis." He's like, "What?" And
Might as well, right?
when I was in California, so okay, here's what happened. So when I was in California, the last time staying with Marty, I started playing guitar and recording songs, and I would send them to Mike, and Mike would send me stuff that he was doing,
Was he
and
playing
like his
guitar as
stuff,
well?
he was playing guitar, he was doing drum machine stuff, he was doing it, he was making whole songs,
Oh, rad.
recordings, and they were cool. They were just like really cool, and I was like, man, I want to work with this guy, and so I finally got settled in St. Louis, and then I talked him into moving up here, and we rented a house, just down the street from Bevo, and we set up the basement, and we set up a recording studio in the basement, and we just started. That's all we did was record,
No way.
and so
Rad.
we started playing in different stuff, and Frederick's Music Lounge was right down the street, so we just started playing there all the time. It was the easiest, and Fred was cool, Fred Friction, and so we just played there all the time, and so yeah, some cool things happened with that. We made a couple CDs. We did them all ourselves, and we'd send them to radio stations, and they'd play them. And so that's how I got to meet a lot of people who I started to hang out with during that time in the music scene.
Yeah. What did you guys record under? What was the name of the band?
Cloister.
Cloister. Okay. Got it. Um, and were you guys just playing around St. Louis or were you guys going beyond that?
We did a couple of things outside of town, but we just stayed in St. Louis. We were pretty like we wanted to record, and like we didn't really care about playing out,
Yeah.
and cause we did a lot of manipulation with electronics and edits and things, and it was difficult to recreate live. And so we focused a lot on recordings, um, but it kind of fizzled out, and but from that I met all kinds of different people, and I started playing in other bands, and um, and then I was really looking for in the back of my mind, I was really looking for subject matter for paintings. I always wanted to really focus on painting, but I'd done some painting and not a whole lot. And but my trouble was always subject. I was like, what do I paint? Like you set up a still life or whatever, but you got to find something that you're into or that you want to spend hours staring at. And as I was getting to meet a lot of these people, I started to think about painting the scene or whatever. And so I would start to photograph things and
Uh-huh.
photograph setting up equipment, just hanging out at the bar, my friends, other bands and stuff like that. And so this is probably 05, oh 06. Oh
Okay.
no, before 05, 04, 05, somewhere around there. And that's how, and that's what I started painting. And I photograph buildings like the Buttery or KDHX or Manja or something, and paint those. And so that's kind of where all that started. And then eventually, you get older and you have children, and you don't play in bands anymore, and you got to focus on this and everything. Um, so uh, so that's been about 20 years or so.
Jeez. Hey, I'm curious, when you were taking photos, was it just a quick like digital photo or were you setting up like
No, well, and it wasn't digital; it was a film.
film? Okay.
Digital was just starting, and
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
no phones, and um, and so it was a film camera, and I would just take a quick photo, and
Okay.
it would be no, like I would hope they didn't even notice me, or I would try not to interfere or anything. Like I wanted like a natural
Yeah.
reaction or something.
Dude, that have you shown any of
Yeah.
that stuff? Just those photos, the originals?
The
You have that?
photographs.
Yeah, yeah. They'll go along with the
Well,
paintings.
there was, yes, I did in Miami actually. There was
What?
a whole there, uh this for oh it was for the big art thing that's down in Miami, not
Art
Art Basel,
Basel?
but
No?
not that, but there's a side satellite thing that happens at the same time. And a gallery that I was involved with here, Hoffman LaChance had a booth or whatever, and the Alicia did this on her own. She took all the photographs and lined them up on a wall, and it's pretty amazing. And I have photographs of it,
Nice.
and so you could see all the photographs, and then in the middle of it is one of the paintings, just
Oh, rad.
one of them. But the whole rest of the wall is just all these photographs of bands and people and bars and places, it turned out really nice. I was always appreciative of that.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know if I have rose-colored glasses on or not, but like that period of time in St. Louis was pretty creative. There's kind of some rad stuff going on, at least on the music side for sure.
Man, there were great bands,
Yeah.
like the Phonocaptors, the Highway Matrons.
I mean, Fred's in itself was pretty incredible. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes, it absolutely was. It was a special place, we like when it's happening and when you're hanging out there, you don't. I mean, I could walk to that place from my house, and I wish I could walk there now.
Yeah.
And it was a special time, but I'm glad that I was there, and I got some photos, and I that's a lot what I'll do. I'll pull something up and do a painting from that time or something.
Hmm. That's incredible.
So you're still doing paintings from photos from like 20 years ago and stuff?
Well, not lately. Lately, I've been actually I've been out of ideas lately, um, and so other people have been suggesting things. I just did a painting of Ike Turner,
Oh, sick.
um, which I which I think turned out nice, but it was suggested to me from Mike at Odessa Skateboards, and he just sends me ideas and stuff sometimes, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and I think this one worked, and but there's going to be a show in a couple weeks at Berkshire Hathaway in Benton Park. They do an art show every year, and this year is going to be a group show. And so the theme is Faces of St. Louis, and
Ooh,
so that's I'm going to show this one. I'm going to show this painting of Ike Turner, um, and say, "Hey, Faces of St. Louis." That's my contribution.
nice. When is that show, by the way?
Cool.
May 1st,
May 1st.
Friday,
Okay.
May 1st. Yeah.
Okay. So coming up, a
So
little less than a month.
it's yeah.
Nice. Where do you store all your paintings at? After painting for so many years, you got to have a ton, right?
Well, I did actually do an inventory last year because I did that show in Granite City, and I had to number every single one of them. And so at that show there was 233, and so that was every single painting. And I do have a specific thing in my basement, which is a canvas rack and other racks, and they're all there and they're all wrapped up, but it's to capacity.
No way. Wow. And that show last year in Granite City, were you selling pieces? Like, was that the idea to thin out the
Yeah,
inventory?
Well, Galen, who used to run Radio Cherokee, that's
Yeah.
his place. He invited me. He was like, "Hey, rent a U-Haul, load up all your stuff, and have a retrospective." I'm like, "Okay." It's like, if you show up, you can do this. And so that's why I did it. But like 30 paintings sold. So I'm glad I did it. It
Yeah.
worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. That's incredible, man. Yeah, the painting stuff is awesome. Like the buildings throughout St. Louis, and again, the music stuff. I could see how, like, after focusing on certain subjects, like you kind of want to be like, all right, what's next? Like, what's the next thing to kind of dive
It
into, right?
is. And I'm a little worried about it. I don't know if it's you just have to take a break or what. But usually what happens is I'll just be out, whether I'm walking or skating or driving or whatever, and I'll just see something. And I'll be like, oh, that's cool. And I'll just snap, a photo. And that hasn't happened that often
Mm.
lately. And so I think it's just a matter of being perceptive or, you know, getting out of your head or something. It just kind of goes through a cycle.
Yeah, or getting out of the environment you see daily. Maybe check out some other stuff, you know?
No, that's a very good point. I get into a rut sometimes where I just work back, and
Slab
you got to get
back.
out there sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't skate anywhere else. I need to, some days I'm like, maybe I'll go to Mofo, but nope.
It's a little
But I
further.
was thinking about, what one of you all said, and one of them was about how crazy it is that Mofo is right by
Oak Hill.
Oak Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's many times I've been at Mofo and I look over to Oak Hill and like the weather is I feel like it's 1990 or it's just bizarre feeling.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and that only and I'm just like, oh, it's just like the vibe of this place, it's just to
Mhm.
me it's like sacred ground or holy ground or
Yeah.
something.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I think a lot of it too, though, you can see, I mean, there are options to park around Oak Hill, but a lot of times I remember parking on that the wall you see from Morgan Ford, that giant monolith of just bricks. And then
Hmm.
the banks are right there at the end of them. Anyways,
Mm.
same deal. I've even been the old fucking man, like, if you only knew what was going on, like catty corner from here. It's like probably
Right,
daytime.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just
And there, yeah. But that was the man, I love that place. I could be there all day. I never wanted to leave. Um, when I was staying with my aunt, that's where we would meet up, that's where we would go. And and also there was a time
you
when
you're still on Oak
uh
Hill, right? That's what you're
yeah,
talking
on Oak
about, right?
Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
The
the the asphalt or whatever that was so
It's
much it
perfect.
was better than ever
It,
it ever was.
I I
Same
loved it. It
prime
was
time around
perfect.
like early 90s. It got a nice
Yes.
wet
Yeah.
air of
Yeah. I mean,
something.
it it was still good.
It might
And
have been the last time, but
the TNT did move to Hampton, or not Hampton, but Chippewa.
I
And
was gonna
first
ask you
that
about that. Yeah.
one of those summers I worked there. That's where I worked.
Oh, no
And
way. And they had a
he
mini
was,
ramp in the
and
back?
they had a mini ramp,
Mm,
and we
that's
finished
so
it, and we
sick.
got to skate it for like a day. And he's like, I have to take it down in Shanks.
Oh, okay.
Wait, how were you able to work there? Where did you live? Or did you stay with your aunt the whole summer?
Well, he had a loft that had a couch. I would sleep there,
Oh,
or I'd
you're a
go to my
full skate rat.
if it got too bad, I would go to my aunt's, and but he would also let me use his place too.
So you basically
And
were just camping out for the summer in St. Louis for the most part. Yeah.
yeah, I loved it.
That's
And at night,
rad.
I'd get a ride to Splash and skate Splash at night. Get back, the shop would open at noon or whatever, and and at that time, and I had to go back. I think that was my that was in between junior and senior year, and so I had to go back for high school. And at that time, I was like, my dream is to move to Chippewa and skate Oak Hill every day. That was my goal in life.
That's incredible. Well, the thing
I
that
mean,
was
not
kind of
too far.
well, the thing that was rad about that time is like there was a lot of bank skating going on, and St. Louis had no shortage of banks, or it still doesn't
Yeah.
really, which was
Yeah,
kind of rad.
yeah.
All the bank, and then we'd go to Captain a lot,
Sure. Yeah.
and what was that one bank? I think you were with us. We were filming there once. It's just off of Boyle or something.
City
Uh,
lighting? Yes,
Maybe yes, City Light. It's a very steep bank,
it gets steeper. Yeah,
just
yeah, yep,
just off the highway.
yep. That's the one.
Uh, but we would hear about little places like that, or we would skate Keener just hours for hours on end, just constantly.
Yeah,
It's it's just crazy how much time we spent there.
yeah, for sure. You know, it's funny. I was telling my wife we were driving around. I'm like, dude, I don't see people out on the streets skating as much as I feel like I used to, and I think that might be the downside of skate parks. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
just don't
yeah,
see people out and about, which skating around the city at that time, there's no other options really,
yeah,
occasional
yeah.
mini ramp or something.
They last summer there was this awesome ditch in Cape, and I was skating it, and it's just this crazy ditch that as long as you're cool, you don't skate. As long as they're not open, it's like a bank, and so Sundays are fine and stuff. And me and my buddy Craig Goodson, he's another guy I need to mention. He was part of the original crew. Awesome skateboarder, still skates today. Me and him were skating it, and this car pulls up, and this guy gets out, and he's probably early 20s. He's like, I don't see anybody street skating around here anytime. Or like he said exactly what you're saying. He's like, what are you guys doing? And he's like, and I was like, where do you skate at? And he's like, at the park.
Yeah.
And he goes, you guys are street skating, and we're skating in this ditch. And so I was like, what? I just thought that was kind of crazy too,
Yeah.
because you don't see that.
It would seem that way, but at the same time, I'm also not out in the streets observing what's going on as well. So,
Well,
yeah,
and I get in my car and I drive straight to the slab and I skate and I drive my car and drive straight back.
right.
So
Yeah.
I'm
But that's
definitely
what,
not out there.
yeah, or like, but you gotta think too, like there's still pockets, or sorry, I shouldn't say pockets, but people putting in time. Like we interviewed Christian with that Bane video, and
Yep.
like
They're out in the
there's a
streets for
handful of
sure.
dudes that are
Yep.
doing it, but it's like you're saying, we don't see that. Yeah,
Again, yeah, I'm not,
we're not out
and
enough, but
yeah, or if
it's
I'm,
still not, yeah, I get your point though. It's like you just don't see like
Well,
skaters out in the wild really anymore.
but I
Like,
think those guys are really smart about it too, and those spots like, but that's the thing, you don't know about them.
yeah, sure.
Like
yeah,
they keep them
yeah,
kind of under the wrap for a bit, and because they know like
that's
when that gets out, that's everyone's gonna go there,
the
Yeah.
hammer's
and
coming down.
Yeah, but
and
at
I
the same
love,
time, too, there's no meetup spots either. That's actually something
well,
that is
yeah,
missing. There's
Yeah,
not a
well
keener, there's not a captain.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that community thing.
Yeah, which is the
Um,
skate park that fills that void.
yeah,
yeah.
and I guess I guess it's better, it's safer. I don't know, um, but I think there is something. But we're just we're old.
I suppose so. Yeah, reminiscing a little too much, but you want to get it,
Get
you're
off
gonna
my
go get it.
lawn!
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You don't know how good you had it.
Yeah, for sure. When was the last time you skated down in Cape or Jackson? You were just talking about skating some
Oh,
ditch or something?
uh, well, I just skated their new half pipe. They have a new half pipe down there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I
Uh,
saw that. How is that?
it's good, but so two things about it. There's dirt, and so dust is flowing around, and it's getting on the ramp.
Is it a
I
metal surface or is it
No, it's
skate light?
whatever that. I
Skate
think
light?
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it seems like wood, but it's something else or something. But I tried to get the dust off as much as I could, but there was still dust on it, so it was slick. And the coping was odd. I just need a little more time to get used to it. But I was able to do a few things and be okay. But what happened was there was another guy who started skating, and the top of it has this weird metal thing that's the coping, and then down the edge of the ramp is like a metal thing
So your
that's
board doesn't shoot out basically? Like, is it like that?
no, it's flush. It's flush with the
Okay.
wood. It's just a strip of metal. And the guy fell and his arm hit it, like sliced it, and his arm, like there was a huge gash
Oh, wow.
from that metal. And so I was like, that's fucked up. And so that made me a little nervous to be on it. And I did a few things. I got like a quick little run, and I want to go back and get used to it. But when I go, I'm going to put duct tape down the side if someone hasn't done it already. That's
Yeah.
all it needs. But I think also get bigger wheels, softer wheels, and that will cut down the sliding.
Okay. And that ramp is at the skate park that's there? Is it
Yeah,
right there? Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that part.
And that park has a nice pool too.
Yeah. Yeah. I stopped there on January 2nd. Skated it for a little bit. It was kind of chilly, but yeah, it's a good park. It's nice.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm surprised they have it, and they just. I mean, the ramp is it's built nice. And there's I think it's 4 feet, maybe 5 feet, and there's an extension that goes like another foot higher,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it's a nice ramp.
Hell
I've
yeah.
only been
Probably should
once,
wear.
but back to parks being the thing, there were quite a few people there when I was
Yeah.
the one time I
At the
skated there
yeah. Well, they
at
and
the
they
Cape
and
Park.
when I showed up, they were having some kind of event there, and there was a ton of people skating the street course or whatever call it. And me and this other guy were the only ones skating the ramp.
Huh. Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to hit that up. Hey,
Yeah, I'd like to go back.
here's something I want to ask you about. Last year you had a little bit of a meetup with some old friends from the Cape Jackson area, yeah?
Oh yeah. Well,
What
I think
was
it
what
was.
was that all about?
Well, I think it was prompted by the first episode with Jason.
Really?
Because they were, just little things were coming out like little messages from here and there, and um and finally I was like, all right. And so I tried to get everyone's phone numbers, like because I would like Facebook or you get an email or whatever. And I was like, and so I made a coordinated effort to get everyone's phone number, and then I made a little group text thing, and it's like, let's do this, and sent it out, and they're like, hey, what's up? What's up? Um, but yeah, they mentioned the episode, like they had heard it, and they listened to it, and like I think it got them thinking about old times,
Nice.
and so we're like, hey, let's meet up, and
Who did you
and
round
that's
up?
it was Jason Sides, Ryan McDowell, Craig Goodson, Gabe Montgomery, Mitch Miller, Chris Sharp, and Kirby Pulliam, um, but Kirby couldn't make it um, because he's in Georgia and it was
Oh
a little
wow.
too far. So it was a little too far. And so we met up at a restaurant somewhere, and we just had a blast and just talked about everything and all everything that we
Hmm.
did, stuff I had forgotten about. Um, but I think it like that episode kind of facilitated that happening.
Dude,
So thanks a lot.
that's
That's
our
cool.
first one, and I don't know
Yeah.
if that's the big reason, but on the YouTube thing, it's not that we get a lot of like views or whatever, but that one's almost approaching 500. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, 500 times people have done that? Like,
Same thing
okay.
on the podcast side. That one's still kind of towards the top of the
It
list, you know?
it is there's a few that are like maybe 300. So it's like something about Jason's where there'd be the first and yeah, I don't know. So it's
Well,
kind
it
of cool.
was. I still remember. It brought back a lot of memories too, because I had totally forgotten about. Not forgotten about him as a person, but I'd forgotten about Vince Wingo, who's an old skater from Cape, showing me how to do heel flips,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
he did talk about that. I remember that.
I
The source
completely
of
had
your madness.
yes, I forgot about that, it came right back, and I was like, that's right. And Vince and another guy named Matt Merriman were two Cape skaters who were phenomenal for the time. They could skate anything. And Matt was a little more technical and a little more street, but he could skate ramp just as good as anybody. And Vince had an old style, but he could do new stuff, and he would do stuff that you never even. He was completely original, complete original skateboarder. And so those guys, that's who we kind of gravitated towards when we would go to Cape or we would want to go watch someone skate or go skate with someone. Was those guys because they were really great.
On top of their game. Where's Matt Merriman at now? I know Jason talked about him. He went to school in Wash U, right?
He was in St. Louis, but I have no contact with him, but I do. The last time I heard about him was through Eric Decker's sister Naomi, who is in Seattle, and she knows him. And and I think at one point she had said she'd seen him there, or they got together or something. So, but that was years ago. So
Oh
that's the
wow.
last I heard of him. But he was, yeah. So like when we were in high school, he would have been in college, and I think he would kind of go back and forth SEMO, and he was like a year in WashU or something. Because I know Baba skated with him, and Baba Lee, and who was another, like that was another great reason to go to Oak Hill, was Baba Lee.
Oh yeah.
That was my absolute favorite person to skate with, and it's still my favorite person to skate with. The times skating with him at Oak Hill was, talk about Oak Hill again, was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on fire back then for sure. And like literally the schoolyard down the street from his house, like yeah, he could skate it well.
That was it. That was his home turf.
Yeah. Dude, that's funny. Yeah, man. Well, we covered a lot of bases here. Matt, is
Yeah.
there anything else left on the list?
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
Let me stir these brain cells around a little bit. I don't know.
I got one for you. Circling back to regionals and districts and all that fun stuff. You wound up at finals out in Encinitas, is that correct?
Oh, that is right. Yes.
Yeah.
My headphones just died. Can you still hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, we can hear you better actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um, yeah, that did happen. And so that was a crazy trip because I think I was in Los Angeles, and so I had to take a train to uh Encinitas. And on the train was Mike uh
Manzori?
Manzori,
Yep.
and he was super cool. And that's who I rode with down to the thing. And I remember asking him when I found out he was from England, I was like, "Have you ever met a Beatle?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have." And I was like, "What?" And George Harrison's son skated or something, and would go to skate shops, and these guys would go back to his place and skate at his place, and I was just like mind blowing.
As a matter of
And
fact, yes, I have met a beetle.
yeah,
Totally. Jesus.
and but that trip was kind of crazy, and so I didn't have a place to stay. I think I actually, so I think Brian Ridgway picked me up at some point, and he took me to the tracker facility, and there's all these awesome ramps, but it was like closed or no one was in there, and so I couldn't do anything.
The
And
climax thing, right?
Yeah.
Or was that what it
Yeah.
is?
Climax
yeah,
distribution. Yep.
and so we did something. He picked something up or something, and then I think I stayed that night. I stayed at his place, and then he dropped me off the next day at wherever the thing was. And but then I was on my own. That was it. And so like I didn't have any place to stay. I didn't know where the fuck I was. I didn't
Was this like
know.
consolidated days or before or after or what was it? Or-
This is still unconsolidated, and so I still had stuff and product and everything. And but I didn't know anybody, and I had like maybe $200 or something. I didn't have any money, and so I get registered or whatever, and it was a disaster. I skated terribly. It didn't work out. But I remember Andy McDonald's like giving some encouragement or just being cool. And because I knew I was like, oh, it's over. And he was just still positive and just cool and just like, no, it'll work out. It'll be all right, which was, that was really cool of him. But I think I had to be there a couple of days or something. Like it went on a few days. And so like at night, there was like a family who was camping on the beach. The beach was right next to it. And they kind of let me like hang out with them and like, gave me some scraps of whatever.
Just like a random family you met or were they at the contest?
No, they're just like on the beach, like hanging out, and I was just kind of, and I think I might have, I think I might have been sitting close or something. I was just sitting on the beach, and they were just like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Or they just started talking to me, and so I was just like, "Oh, I'm here for this contest," and whatever, and so they're just cool, like cool, and like they helped out and everything, and so that's where I'd kind of crash at night, and the next day go do whatever, but it was it didn't work out very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, for
Camping
sure.
on the beach.
Yeah.
Was Jason Sides at that contest too? Or no?
I know he was bouncing around somewhere.
No,
But
this is okay. I was remembering like um remember Kyle got to go to Encinitas too randomly. Wasn't that
He might
Kyle?
have been there. I didn't know him at that
No,
time.
not at that time. I think he might have went like another like a year or two prior to maybe
He
you
wa-
going
he
Oh,
there.
mentioned being at some random contest, but I think Jason was there because that's the reason we see him on the back of the Markovich cover. It was
right,
during
No,
that
yeah.
that
trip.
is yeah,
Yeah, there
yeah.
was
Yeah.
So
yeah, we were kind of there at the same time and
okay, but
but
you didn't go
you know,
together.
now like then there's no phones. There's
Yeah,
just like
sure.
Yeah,
I don't even
but
know
did you
like
guys go out there together or
no, it was
no?
separate. Like
Yeah, he was
I
on
think I was
Going. You were on Tracker.
yeah, I think I was already in Los Angeles for some reason or earlier in that summer. I spent the summer in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, I see.
And then he had flown out to wherever, but I don't even know where he flew to. And so like our paths never crossed.
Interesting. Huh.
Huh.
Not even at the contest? You didn't.
I don't know if
You
I
were
don't
too in the
remember.
zone.
There was no zone. There was no zone. It was just like whatever, you know, and I
Yeah.
understand contests and like, you know, sometimes you're pumped up for them, but but now
If you're
like I
not
wish
and your shit's not working, it's just a horrible experience. It
well, I just
sucks.
wish that I understood it like I do now back then. And because since I started back up, like I think of it in a completely different way, and I approach tricks in a completely different way, and um, and I wish I would have like taken a little more time and thought about that, because I was just like rush, 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 and you know a lot of times that worked, but you know it could have been a little more thoughtful, I guess.
Sure. But yeah, what are you gonna do in hindsight? Like you're not like some
Well,
jock,
that's
right?
what's great about that's what's great about skating now because I can practice it and I can do it and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it and I don't like it doesn't matter if it's just me or whoever, but it is nice. Like the other day, it happened with Matt when he was there, and oh, and one of your I remember one of your lists thing you said hometown hero,
Yeah.
and I did want to say I don't have a hometown hero, but I think a regional hero is Chris Casey uh,
Whoosh.
because he influenced an entire generation of skaters through his show, and
Mm,
rightly so. I mean, there's an entire generation out there from a certain time period who that he's known for that.
for
And I
sure.
think that's great. And so and sometimes and it happens with Baba too, and it happens with Chris. And it's just like you when you're skating and you like get these weird moments and it's like 1990 again or something. Or it's just the atmosphere is the same. And so um as long as those things keep happening, like, you know, I'll keep skating.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, one of those days where it like was just too fun of a time. Right before Chris passed, I couldn't tell you guys were just bullshitting, but serious about that one of those demo slash contests you brought up about how Chris wins and he
Yes.
was like rubbing it in your face so hard in like 2025 or whatever. It was so funny. I couldn't believe how serious he was kind of acting, but I mean, you guys are great friends, and so it was just fucking funny. But
Well, no,
then
he
turns out
and so in
I
that
kind of
second,
get why you were also a little worked up. You're like fucking bullshit. That trophy was fucking huge. Like
yeah,
the
well,
thing was
and that's
ridiculous.
that was from that Cadillac tour with Nadas. They had a contest
Yeah,
and Chris won it.
yeah.
And I was gonna win it. Like I was like, I'm gonna, you know, this is my year, what, you know, whatever. And like, who is this Chris guy? And what's going on?
Coming down
And
from St. Louis and stealing
right, they
your
come down to our
glory.
town, you know, yeah. And and so and he was like, I still have that trophy. And he was like, and he, you know, he'd talk about it and stuff, and he's like, you want that trophy and everything. And but I do have it now. So
That's so rad. That's so
yeah.
rad. Yeah.
Dude,
I
too funny.
remember, yeah, just seeing it. I was like, holy shit, that's the because it was like right before he passed when you guys had that discussion, and
No,
then
that's
I
crazy.
saw it and I'm like, what the fuck?
Was
Like
he
there's
bringing
that
it out with
trophy.
him, like skating around, like holding it
No,
up?
taking it
Oh,
out with
okay,
him.
okay. That's what I'm picturing.
I could see him doing that,
Yeah,
man.
totally.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Well,
yeah. You got
yeah.
anything else, Matt? Any other stories about trophies or awards?
No, that was a good one though. It was a fun memory
Well,
for
dude, thanks
sure.
thanks for doing this, Dana. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this, and I can't help but think that, when things happen, it's like good you guys are getting some stuff down and preserving, and
Yeah.
it's important stuff, and I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.